Welcome to Recollection Mall. If you were a mall rat like me or spent your formative years hanging out or getting dragged to the mall by your parents or parental units, then you've come to the right channel. Have you ever gone into your childhood, teenage, or current mall and wondered, wasn't there a store or restaurant there? So let's take a trip down memory lane and take a deep dive into this mall's history of yesteryear. Be sure to stick around to the end of the video and take my mall survey. I want to see if you, the viewer, were paying attention to my video. So hit that like button, leave a comment, and be sure to subscribe to Recollection Mall. Thanks. On September 29, 1972, ground was broken for the Greater St. Louis's 5th Regional Shopping Mall. The Jamestown Mall, which was located in the far North County, was built on a portion of a 140-acre tract. This was located 16 miles northwest of the center of St. Louis, in an unincorporated section of St. Louis County known as Blackjack. The single-level shopping mall was developed by Cleveland's Jacob Visconti Jacobs Company and designed by Los Angeles Organelli Human Associates. Encompassing 682,000 leasable square feet, the Jamestown Mall was anchored by a two-level 192,000 square foot Sears and was dedicated along with the mall on October 10, 1973. A four-level 223,000 square foot Sticks, Bear, and Fuller opened its doors on February 4, 1974. About 80 stores connected the two anchors, with two side hallways leading from the center court to the main parking lots on either side. Sculptures built into fountains bathed reflecting pools, created by Cleveland-based artist and sculptor Clarence Van Duzer, lined the mall. Original stores and services included Forum Cafeteria, Walgreen Drug, Baskin-Robbins Ice Cream, Camelot Music, Davy Jones Locker, The Limited, Orange Bowl Snack Bar, Pass Pets, and Aladdin's Castle Video Arcade. The General Cinema Corporation Jamestown Mall Cinema 1 and 2 made its debut on July 12, 1974. The mall was planned with a promise of a future residential development to supplant it. However, it was quickly determined that the ground surrounding the mall was unstable, and the building such large neighborhoods was out of the question. As such, the mall was left virtually alone in what seemed like the middle of nowhere. By 1977, the four-year-old Jamestown Mall contained 86 stores and services under its roof, with free parking provided for 3,500 cars. Around this time, the stores that were in the mall was ABC Kitty Shop, Aladdin's Castle Video Arcade, Baker's Shoes, Buster Brown Shoes, Butler Shoes, Camelot Music, Casual Corners Ladies Wear, Chess King, Claire's Boutique Lady Wear, Davy Jones Locker, Foxmore Casuals, Fredericks of Hollywood, KB Toys, Kinney Shoes, Mangel's Ladies Wear, Merry-Go-Round, Mother to Be, Naturalizer Shoes, Noble Shoes, Orange Bowl Snack Bar, Paul Harris's Ladies Wear, Proving Grounds Men's Wear, A Radio Shack, Richmond Brothers, Sofro Fabrics, Spencer's Gifts, Square Meal Restaurant, Taylor's Music House, The Athlete's Foot, The Gap, The Limited, The Tinderbox Tobacconist, Things Remembered, Tom McCann Shoes, Tiffany's Bakery, Vanguard Shoes, Walden Books, Walgreens Drugs, and World Bazaar, as well as Zales Jewelers. Many famous celebrities also visited this mall, including Rick Springfield, Muhammad Ali, and even a bear wrestling competition was at the mall. In 1985, the Sticks, Bear, and Fuller closed, and they would reopen as a rebranded Dillard's. The famous bar chain announced plans for a new Jamestown store in April of 1992, which would anchor a major expansion. After several delays, construction got underway in late 1993. The two-level, 165,000 square foot famous bar would hold its grand opening on July 30th, 1994, replacing a circa 1955 operations at the Jennings Northland Center. In addition, JCPenney would relocate their Florissant store to the mall, linked by a new 40,000 square foot addition connecting the two. An 8-bay food court capable of seating 450 people would be built next to Sears, resulting in the closure of the former General Cinema, which was by this time run by the Warenberg Circuit. The expansion was completed in the fall of 1994, with JCPenney coming online in 1995. The former River Roads Mall nearby shut down that year, and many customers flocked to Jamestown as well. Famous Bar at Jamestown Mall was joined by a two-level 124,000 square foot JCPenney, which welcomed its first shoppers on April 29, 1995. The new anchors and a 23-store East Wing increased the gross leasable square feet of Jamestown Mall to approximately 1,010,000 square feet. The original Twin Cinema Mall closed down in early 1994, and 5 years later, a state-of-the-art motion picture venue was completed. The Warenberg Theater's Jamestown 14 Cine opened its first features on November 20th, 1998. The Warenberg James 14 Cinema was built in existing mall space, displacing 8 inline stores. Other stores you may have remembered in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s was McDonald's, Sam Goody, Chick-fil-A, Sunglass Hut, Zales, Claire's, Piercing Pagoda, EB Games, Singular Wireless, Deb, Express, The Icing, Rave, Victoria's Secret, Payless Shoes, American Eagle Outfitters, A&W Hot Dogs, Charlie's Steakery, Pretzel Time, Mrs. Fields Cookies, Subway, Sbarro, Bath & Body Works, American Greetings, GNC, Prince Plus, Deck the Walls, Pass Pets, and Pandora's Collectibles, to name a few. In 1999, JCPenney demoted their full-time operation and converted it into a JCPenney outlet store. The new wing of the mall failed to generate enough stores to warrant its addition, with many spaces having never been occupied right to the end. By 2003, Jacobs was looking to part ways and sold the center to Carlyle Development in 2003. The closing of the Hazelwood Ford plant and the opening of St. Louis Mills affected Jamestown greatly. In June of 2006, Dillard's closed its location at the Jamestown Mall. In September of 2006, the Famous Bar department store closed and reopened as a rebranded Macy's. By mid-2008, Carlyle had planned a $120 million mixed-use commerce center for the mall, and would have seen the conversion of the former Dillard's into offices, as well as the conversion of the wing leading to it. The mall sealed off the Dillard's end of the mall as stores closed. Outparcel Retail, a senior living community, and a grocery store were part of that plan. The empty Sticks Dillard's building was to be converted to office space, and the bulk of the malls demolished and replaced by a new urban-style town center, tentatively known as Lindbergh Place. The nearby River Road Center Mall, which was opened in 1962, had been razed between 2006 and 2007. With one of its competitors out of the picture, Jamestown Mall still faced St. Louis Mills. However, the Great Recession of 2008 ultimately killed these plans. Demolition of the mall was to begin in early 2009. However, St. Louis County supervisors heard that developers were secretly attempting to auction off the Sticks Dillard structure, which was supposed to serve as the center of the mall's rebirth. The county withdrew its $40 million tax abatement. In May of 2009, the mall was purchased by Mike Cohan of Cohan Retail Investment Group, but they would lose in foreclosure 2 years later in November of 2011. Sears would close their store in 2009, leaving the mall at roughly half its occupancy. A furniture liquidator would open up shop on the first level of the former Dillard's in 2011. In 2011, JCPenney would close their outlet store, only for it to reopen under the ownership of SB Capital's JC's 5-Star Outlet, which was its replacement. They would last 2 more years, closing in late 2013. Kohan failed to pay utilities on the mall and the property taxes and ultimately foreclosed back to Carlyle for ownership of the building. The Carlyle Development Group reclaimed the property in late 2012. The JCPenney outlet store, which was rebranded as a JC's 5-Star Outlet in 2013, closed at the end of 2013. Carlyle could also not afford to pay the back taxes. At this time, the entire southwest wing was closed to the public. There were 20 inline stores in operation with approximately 72 vacant spaces. In January of 2014, Macy's closed. After Macy's shut their doors, the mall finally closed for good in July of 2014. Officials of the St. Louis County unveiled the redevelopment plan for the Jamestown Mall site in May of 2016. A mixed-use venue was envisioned, which would include shops, restaurants, and townhomes. But for nearly the next decade, shifting ownership, backroom deals, corruption, slow funding, and a healthy dose of destruction would delay any progress of getting rid of the albatross that anchored the North County region. In order for this plan to work, all the mall needed was to be brought under a single owner. This was accomplished in October of 2017 when it was purchased by the St. Louis County Port Authority. Further proposals for the property came along, such as industrial use, mixed use, and even an ag tech farm, but each was met with delays and setbacks. Funding was also an issue due to the Stanger scandal, but by 2022, $6 million was secured through the American Rescue Plan. A major fire ripped through the building in April of 2023, destroying a large swath of the building in front of Dillard's. This was the final straw, and St. Louis County pledged to match another $6 million to the money gifted by the feds to secure demolition of the bloated property. The abandoned mall was eventually knocked down between September 23rd and March of 2024. Congratulations!
Still here? It's over. Whoa. When I find you...
Pop quiz, hotshot.
This is only a test.
So if you've gotten this far into the video, thanks. So how many anchor stores closed or changed names at this mall? So if your answer was 6, give yourself a hand. You were paying attention. Thanks for watching. So what are some of your memories of this mall? Leave a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe to Recollection Mall. Add your name to the mall directory. Thanks.